So my youngest daughter had developed something when she was about 5 years old. And rather than have me tell you, I'm going to have her come up here. Her name is Sage. And she's going to tell you something that I put in one of my books called There's a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem. This is my daughter Sage, and my other daughter Serena. Stand up, Serena. This is my other daughter as well, my beautiful girls. And Sage developed this very uncomfortable and unpleasant thing on her face. And we talked to her as her mother and her father, and this is my little girl. Isn't she beautiful?
Okay. So basically, what happened was I was about 5 years old, like he said, and I had developed a rash of bumps on my face. So after a couple weeks of these bumps not going away, my parents eventually took me to a doctor, and the doctor diagnosed them as flatwarts. And he said that flatwarts aren't that uncommon in children and that they really should go away by themselves within a few months, and they should start to get better and heal and so on. So a few more months go by, and they're not getting better at all. They're spreading, and they're getting worse, and they're going towards my eyes. So my parents took me back to the doctor and said, you know, what can we do? Because these aren't getting worse. It's her face. You know, they're spreading towards her eyes. You know, they're warts. It's not pleasant. And the doctor said, you know, that the treatments are really harsh, and we should kind of just watch them a little longer because hopefully these warts will go away. And now, so we continue to watch them, and more time goes on. I've had them now for a couple years, and my parents finally took me to another doctor, a different doctor out in Hawaii, a dermatologist, and because they're only getting worse. I've had them like 2 years now. So this doctor, you know, he confirmed the diagnosis. He said they are indeed flatwarts, but you've had them for too long now. Your body's not fighting them. So, you know, we're going to have to do something about it. And he said, you have two options. Your first option would be we could burn them off or freeze them off, which would leave scars. And considering how many there are, it would be painful. And no, to me, I'm like 6 or 7 years old at this point. I said, yeah, I'm not interested, and that sounds terrible. So he said, your second option would be you could take an oral medication that may or may not work. It will make your face red. You have to stay out of the sun. And we were in Hawaii. It's hard to stay out of the sun in Hawaii. So I really didn't want to do that either. And my parents knew that I didn't. So when we were in the doctor's office, they looked at me and they said, well, you know, we really think that you have a third option. And I said, okay, what's that? They said, we think that you have the power within yourself to heal yourself, that you can talk to your bumps. I called them my bumps because warts didn't sit well with me. But they said, I think you can talk to your bumps and you can make them go away yourself. You have that power within you to do that. So as a child, a 7-year-old, my parents telling me that, I believed them. I said, okay, I'm going with option number 3. You know, I'm going to go home and talk to my bumps. So that night, I went home and I got in bed and I got under the covers and I pulled the covers over my head. And for about 5 minutes before I went to sleep, I talked to my bumps in my head, you know, mentally. And I did that for 3 more nights. And on the 4th night, I got in bed to talk to them again, and I reached up and I touched my face, and it was completely smooth. They were gone. I was so happy. I jumped out of bed and I ran into my parents' room and I jumped in their bed, and I exclaimed, "They're gone! You know, I can't believe it. My face is smooth." And my parents felt my face, and they were amazed as well. And they said, my dad looked at me and said, "Well, what did you say to them?" So. And I was a little embarrassed, and I didn't want to tell them, so I said it was a secret. And my dad, he begged me to tell him. He tried bribing me, you know, for a couple weeks. This goes on. He's like, "I'll take you for ice cream if you tell me." It's like, "I'm not telling you. It's a secret." So they eventually gave up asking me, and then it came up again just a few years ago when I was like 18 years old, and I was like, okay, I can tell you now. I guess it's not a secret anymore. So I told my dad that, you know, when I talked to them, I sent them love. I told them that I loved them, but that we couldn't be together anymore, and that and I thank you. And I pictured them. Thank you. I pictured them falling off my face, and I pictured myself having smooth, clear skin, and that's exactly what happened. And I think that the reason that it was so easy for me as a child, and the reason that it worked in a matter of 3 days, is because I really believed that I could do that. I had no doubt in my mind that I was going to be capable of curing myself of these bumps. And the reason that I had no doubt is because I had my parents telling me that I could. And at that age, your parents telling you can do something, you're going to believe them. You think your parents know everything.
And that's true.
And then you get older and you realize they don't.
What was that?
Just kidding. But yeah, and I think the other reason that it worked for me is because as a child, I didn't sit there and obsess over healing myself. I talked to them for 5 minutes, and then in the morning I went out and played and I forgot about it. And then when I got in bed, I did it again. So I wasn't, by obsessing over it, I think, because as an adult, sometimes we try to manifest something, or we want to attract something into our lives, and we start to obsess over it, or fear that we're not going to get it. And they're kind of the same thing, because if you obsess over it, you're basically saying to the universe, I don't have it, you know? And then you're fearing that you're not going to get it. But as a child, there was none of that involved. I knew it was going to work, and it worked.
Great. Thank you, honey, very much. Very good. Good job. Now, and the lesson to you as parents, or whomever it is that you were, is to not tell people that you're limited, that these are things that you can't do. I decided at that time when I was in my 20s, when I had removed this cyst from the back, from my back, and that was a ward where I was in, where a whole lot of people had that very similar thing, and everyone were going through the surgery, that this power that we have, this is basically the capacity to be able to attract and do anything. It was like one of those magical things. I decided, if I can do that, then what else is it that I have within me? What power do I have within me to be able to manifest or create or heal something from myself? So I made a decision that I wasn't going to have a cold for the rest of my life. I just said, why in the world should I choose colds or be susceptible to messages that say, this is the flu season? So like this, now it's got its own season, you know, and that you are why not? And I would tell my children this all the time. You don't have to have a cold. It's not something that has to continue with you. But I have a brother who, if he gets a sniffle on a Monday morning, the first thing he says is, I've got this sniffle. He said it to me one time. He said, it's in my nose. He said, tomorrow it'll be in my throat. This is how he's using this divine intelligence that he has, this invisibleness within himself. He said, by Wednesday it'll be down in my chest. He said, I'll probably have a fever on Thursday. I'm going to have to take Friday off. He's taking Friday off with a fever, and it's Monday morning, and he's got a sniffle. And we do this not just with colds, we do it with so many other things. I was in the exercise room where I live in Florida, and there's a guy in there, and he's got Snoopy's coming out of his nose, and he's just all a mess, and he's got, I guess he's got whatever it is that is going around. I guess it just goes around. And I said to him, Ralph, I said, so how long have you had this thing? He said, Wayne, in 2 weeks, it'll be a month. Now think about the logic of what this person is saying. In 2 weeks, it's going to be a month. Now, the idea that we have this ability within us, the power within us, to be able to visualize, when I think of that, the simple little example, I think of it with getting a place to park. I have never had a problem getting a place to park in my life, because when I go someplace, I'm looking for a place to park. Most people are looking for no place to park. And when you're looking for no place to park, which there's no parking places around here, you're going to attract exactly what it is. And it works in so many ways, but the simple little example that I'm using here, and then I think about your country, and I think about Libya. two countries that had basically the same thing, and one person has a vision of what this country is going to look like, what it's going to be, who we are going to, we're going to be an oasis in a world which has so many things that we do. And another vision is a world in which, well, you know what the outcome is. It's the willingness to go within and to recognize that who you are has nothing to do with what you have or what you do or what you accomplish. And it doesn't, I mean, someone was asking me this morning, yes, but what if you live in a culture which emphasizes that so strongly? But the culture is not what's within you. Nobody can touch that. That is your divinity.